January 21st, 2016. From El Cajon, California, this is episode 91 of You Can Bet on That. Hi, everybody. Welcome to You Can Bet on That, a podcast for the recreational gambler. My name is Mark Duvall, and sitting across from me is Dr. Mike.
Hello.
So just real quick, the Trippies were announced, and I know a lot of the other podcasts have already gone over them. So we're only going to talk about it briefly real quick. First of all, congratulations to Tim and Michelle, 500 by Midnight, once again winning for Best Podcast.
Yeah, well deserved.
Yep. And you know, when the Vegas tripping guys were kind of talking about the Trippies, one of them was asking, you know, should 500 just be put in the Hall of Fame so that, you know, they can't win anymore because
like
they've won so much. Yeah, that kind of thing.
Retired their number.
And I think they decided no, and I kind of agree. You know, it's like, why, you know, I mean, if you're going to vote for the best, what people think is the best,
right,
you know, it should be the best.
Now, when they go into repeats, years from now, and they're just too old to do it anymore, and they're just repeating
just every week they're releasing the old ones.
Right, then they shouldn't.
If they're winning at that point, there's something's wrong.
Right. Then we know the fix is in. Right.
That's right. So congratulations to them. The only other thing I wanted to talk about, now, on a previous episode, I had talked about how I really hated playing craps at Binion's, as did you, the way that we were treated.
Right.
And so I had voted for worst craps at Binion's. Now, the readers and the editors voted for Win and Encore.
I wonder what that was based on.
That was based on double odds.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Yeah,
So,
well, all right.
and that makes sense. So I definitely, you know, will back that up. I would say at this point, I would still rather play at Win or Encore than at Binion's because
for the atmosphere, yes.
Yeah, exactly. Right.
I mean, I wouldn't be happy with double odds myself, but you know, for the atmosphere, I'd be okay with it.
Yeah. So anyway, that's just wanted to talk about those two things, and then again, you know, there are plenty of all the other podcasts. Vegas Tripping actually put the whole evening, about 6 hours worth of their discussion on the Trippies, so you can go and listen to the Vegas Tripping podcast, and 500 they covered it as well. So that's all we'll say about the Trippies. But congratulations to all the winners. Okay, so we want to tell a couple of stories here. The first one involves you.
Right.
And now you had gone out to Harrah's, Southern California on New Year's Eve.
On New Year's Eve with my wife and I. We talked about that on the last podcast.
Right. So what happened?
Well, they had a thing. Okay, so there's a drawing. And this is really kind of gets under my skin a little bit.
Yeah.
But they make you slide your card, your player's card, in a kiosk thing to be eligible for the drawing.
Right.
Which annoys me to death, because why do we have to do that? If you play at a table and you're entered in the computer that you're at the table playing, then shouldn't you automatically be in the computer?
Yeah.
I mean, every other night you go, you give your card to the table, it gets slid in. That's how they track your tier score and your reward points and everything, right? But on these giveaway nights, they make you go through this extra step of sliding your card.
Yeah, okay.
So, I mean, it's kind of annoying, but we do it. We slide our card.
Right.
Well, it turns out that on that particular night, besides the drawing for the $1 million, they also had a multiplier night where they multiply your reward points. So it was for me being a 7-star, I think it was a 15 times multiplier.
Okay,
night.
so the normal reward credits that you would get.
Yeah, say I normally get like $60 of reward.
Right, the reward credits are like money. Those are the ones that you can actually use to purchase things.
You can purchase
through the casino,
things. You can turn them into dollars. You
can free play, but yes,
free play, right. But so normally I'd get like, say, $60. Well, on a 15 times multiplier, it's like, you know, $900, right? That's a lot of money. So I slid my card thinking that, you know, sliding my card meant I'm in for the drawing and the multiplier.
Sure.
Come to find out, and this we found out a couple of weeks later when you noticed that it hadn't posted my points.
Right. I keep real good track of our reward credits, our tier credits, everything, you know, anytime we play. Exactly.
Right. And anytime I spend money, I tell Mark, and he knows that, you know, what came out and what went in.
And I noticed everything was up to date except for the multiplier you should have gotten for New Year's Eve. Yeah.
Right. And so we went and asked, or I went and asked. Turns out there were 2 different kiosks.
Yeah.
Now they have like 4 kiosks or 5 kiosks.
Yeah, and they're kind of close together.
They're all close together. And there was a lot of people sliding their cards, right?
Yeah.
I didn't even pay attention. Now the lady told me at the total rewards table that it was clearly marked.
Mm-hmm.
And well, you know, And it may have been. I'm not saying it wasn't. And, but with all those people there, and I'm not even thinking that way. So normally there's only one event a night.
Yes, right.
So
you slide your
just
card
sliding
and
our card and we're done. Well, I didn't slide my card. And she said, well, you slid your card in the machine for the drawing for the $1 million, but you didn't slide in the other one. Turns out, if they'd said to me, look, you can only slide in one, I would take in the 15 times
of course.
rewards.
Right.
Forget the drawing. I know I'm not going to win.
Okay, so they had a record of you sliding for the $1 million giveaway, and they had a record of you playing that night.
Exactly.
But because you had not slid your card specifically for the reward credit multiplier you didn't get it.
Because evidently there are some people who, given 15 times more rewards, do not want it.
Right. You chose not to.
I chose not to take.
Right. They cannot assume. There's no way they should assume.
Yeah, that I'd rather have $900 versus $60.
Right. So they're looking out for you.
They're looking out for my interest because, maybe I'm offended by $900 in my pocket.
So there was nothing they could do for you.
No. And that's another thing. You're a 7-star player. There's nothing we can do. Sorry you didn't slide it. And, I kind of understand that too, because there's probably a lot of people who fell into that category. And if you're going to do it for the 7-star, then the diamond guy is going to say, wait a minute, why don't you do it for me? And, platinum guy is going to want it. And
you're right. Why should you have to slide anything when, once presenting your card, sliding your card in a machine or at a table game, giving them your card, you're in the system.
You're in the system and you earn so many points based on your play, right? Why do you have to go through that extra step?
Yeah, that is bad.
I would like somebody at Harrah's just to explain to me, why do I have to go through that extra step?
Yeah.
It's annoying. It's silly, really. Yeah. So it's a cautionary tale that we tell,
keep that in mind, right? If you're, and this applies to a lot of casinos. A lot of casinos, you have to slide your card when you get there to qualify for all sorts of things. Right. Make sure if there's more than one kind of kiosk that you slide your card at every one that applies to you.
I know at Pala, my brother's been there and they have several different kiosks when they have those car drawings. Yeah. There'll be a kiosk for the car and there'll be a kiosk for some other giveaway that night. Yeah. And he knows, he goes around and slides them all. I just never even thought of that.
Yeah. Well, it won't happen again to us, at least.
No, that'll be the last time.
Yeah. Oh, and speaking of kind of messing up, this happened to both of us. We had a coupon a couple weeks ago for a Saturday that we in the mailer. It was a mailer, right?
Right.
Both of us failed to notice it and cash it in on that Saturday. And it was our fault. There's no question. We got it in the mailer.
Yeah. We go Friday nights and we stay past midnight.
Right. To get after midnight, we can, use the one for the next day. Right. And I get this mailer. It fooled both of us. I guess the way it looked on the front, we didn't think it was free play.
No,
so it didn't catch our eye.
Yeah, and I had filed it kind of towards the back of my stack. So I went through the top, got my Friday night stuff out. And we even said, nothing for Saturday.
I know, we thought about it, nothing. Well, that's the reason. It's not an excuse, but that's the reason at least we didn't get that free play that night.
We got to stop drinking before we go to the casino.
Yeah, that's a good idea. Well, just for the drive up there, that's not a bad idea too. Right. Yeah. All right, well, here's a good story. All right, so this week.
This kind of makes up for the other two bad stories. It kind of does.
All right, so we're out at Harrah's, Southern California, playing craps like we usually do, and I've got the dice. But first of all, the evening is going great.
Oh, right? It was unbelievable. I'll tell you what, we played 5 hours on the same craps table. Mm-hmm. We only had 2 shooters that didn't make a point.
Right. And who was that? I'm trying to think of who that was.
Same guy.
Same guy.
Yeah. And he only shot twice for the whole night and he sucked.
He was bad. Who was that again?
I can't remember that guy's name.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. Well, we'll think of it. I'm sure I'll be able to think of it by the end of the podcast.
I think when I go home and look in the mirror, I'll figure out who it was.
Anywho, on one roll, I had the dice and I turned to you and I said, it was the first time I'd rolled that night. I said, well, Mike, I'm guaranteeing 2 points. At least 2 points,
right?
Which is a stupid thing to say, of course, but Mike, no, it's guaranteed 2 points. So get your money out there.
So I immediately put $50 on the line.
Right.
And the point you roll is 6.
Right. It was a 6.
So I take my $250 odds.
Yep.
The most they will allow.
Yep.
I place all the hard ways.
Oh, right. So and what you typically do on the hard ways, right? You have $5 on each one, except you have $10 on the point. If the point is a hard way number.
If the point is 6 or 8 or 4 or 10, I 10 on that. If it's a 5 or 9, if it's 5, I take 6. If it's 9, I take 8.
All right.
Put the $10 on that.
All right. But in this story, you had $10 on the hard 6.
On the hard 6.
Okay. So here I go, boom, and eventually I rolled the hard 6 for the point. It's like, hey, great, So what do you do now with your...
Well, I collected my line bet.
Right.
Right. And I immediately parlayed my hard way. So now I have $100 on it.
Right.
So now you're coming out.
Yeah. Now it's a come out roll, and you always have your hard ways off on the come out roll.
I used to years ago have them on, and then I try and cover them with an easy, 6 and and I'd have to bet a 3-way 7 in case 7 came up and all. It got expensive. So I decided I'm just going to take them off, and then I'll just hop the hard 6 for, a small amount.
Right. So if one of your hard ways has been, parlayed, that's the one that you'll hop on the hard way.
In this case, 6 had been parlayed. So I bet a $10 hop in hard 6 on the come out, just in case you roll 6. If you roll 7, I only lose $10. Right. Yes, not my whole 100.
Or any other number, anything that's not a hard 6.
Right. Anything that's not a hard 6.
Right.
So as it turned out.
Yep.
You roll a hard 6.
Yep. So right back another hard 6. So it's like, hey, terrific, right?
So now I win $300 on that.
Okay, so you won $300 because you had a $10 hop bet on the hard 6.
Right. So I get $300.
Right. Okay.
And your point was 6 again.
So yeah, my point is 6 again.
Now your second point before that, I've been doing this thing where I make my first bet, and then I half my line bet the next time.
Right. So what you're saying is you start with like $50 on the pass line, and if the point is made, then for the next, come out roll, you reduce it to 25.
I reduce it to 25.
Right.
And I kind of like that system, and I kind of recommend it to people as long as your second bet is still above the minimum. Like if there was a $10 table, you couldn't put 10 and then go to 5, right?
Right. Okay,
so
sure.
You'd have to do like 20 and then go down to 10.
But it's not a bad way to play because then you make that first point, it almost guarantees you a win for the shooter.
For the shooter, right? If you make that first point, now if you don't make the first point, maybe you lost twice as much as you would have. Right. But if you do make that first point, you're kind of going to be up for that shooter, which is what I'm going for, right?
So you had actually pulled back to $25
I had pulled back
on
to
the pass
25.
line. And I said, Mike, no, wait, I guaranteed at least 2 points.
You guaranteed at least 2. And so I looked at you and, okay, well, so I put 50.
You put 50
I put another,
out there. I think what you actually said was, you better roll this 6. I'm going to be so angry.
I used a few other words in there.
I was cleaning it up for the show.
Okay. So I put my $50 out, and you came out on a hard 6 again.
Right. A hard 6. Okay. So now I've got the dice. You won 300. Right. Yeah.
I put my 250 odds.
Right.
And my hop bet stayed out there, but I pressed it up to 20.
Okay, so you press it up to 20.
I had 20 and I had 5 for the dealers.
Okay. And meanwhile, now, since it's not the come out roll anymore, we actually need a point of 6.
Right.
Your hard ways are working.
My hard ways are working. My $100 hard ways working. Right. I've got $20 hopping hard 6, and I've got the 6 on the line with 250 odds. Right. So Mark rolls his third hard 6 in a row.
In a row, I rolled another hard 6.
So I get 350 from the line bet.
That's right. So that's my second point that I had guaranteed.
Right. I get 350 from the line bet, 900 from the hard way, all day hard way.
Right, the hard way bet.
And 600 more
for the
hopping hard way. Right. And the dealers get $150.
Nice.
For theirs.
Nice.
So then,
all right. So now I'm coming out again.
You're coming out again.
So you've still got your hop bet out there. It's still $20. You've still got $100 on the hard 6.
Right. Still got $100 on the hard 6.
Yep.
And I increased the dealer's hopper, I think, to like 10 at that point.
Okay.
So I had 20 for me and 10 for them or something. I had increased theirs a little bit.
Right.
And so Mark comes out again and rolls another hard 6.
Hard 6. My fourth
in a
hard
row.
6 in a row. That's right.
So another $600 on the hop bet.
Yeah.
Right. Why didn't I have my hard way working?
I know. That's right. Because I came out again. That's right.
And that's kind of the end of the story. Because
it really is. Well, the next roll I rolled a hard 8.
Yeah, you rolled a hard 8.
Turned out to be inconsequential.
We were all talking about 5 hard ways in a row. You rolled a hard 8, which I parlayed, but it never hit again.
Yeah. So you made a killing. I didn't have anything on the hard way, but it was such a good night. I still won a ton of money just based on all the rolls and everything.
Just on your, I made 700 on the line and 900. That's 1,600, and then another 900 on the hops. So what is that? 22,500.
Yeah, and I never did make a third point
on those 4 rolls.
Yeah,
no, he never did make
the 2, and then that was it.
Didn't make a third. So we're talking about it.
Yeah, on the drive home.
On the drive home, and we're thinking, okay, like before your roll started, if I said, Mark, what are the chances you're going to roll 4 in a row?
Before you
rolled anything?
Well, no, I'm in the middle of my roll, but before I rolled my first hard 6.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, at any point before you had rolled that first hard 6. Well, so the odds of that happening are pretty close to 1.7 million to 1.
Yeah, if you said to me right now, okay, what are the chances of me rolling 4 hard sixes in a row starting right now?
Yeah.
It's, what do you say about 1.7 million?
It's actually 1.67 million to 1. So let's say 1.7 million to 1.
Right. All right, so let's kind of back up here a little bit. We just got an email from listener Mike. He was asking, hey, you know, the chances of hitting the Powerball are 1 in 292 million. So if I bought 292 tickets, would my odds be 1 in a million?
And yes, they would.
They would. Now the numbers aren't quite that clean, but yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's 1 in a million.
Assuming that none of your tickets were duplicates.
Correct, right. They're all unique.
They're all
draws,
unique
right?
draws. They can have the same numbers that just they can't have the same 6 numbers.
Right.
Yeah, so it'd be 1 in a million. So you hitting those 4 hard sixes is actually harder to do than winning the Powerball if I had bought, say, 300 tickets.
That's correct. Yes, that's correct.
Next time it's 1.5 billion, I'm going to buy 300 tickets. What was I thinking?
All right. Here, to me, the 1.67 million for 4 hard sixes in a row isn't nearly as interesting as, okay, I've just rolled a hard 6. What are the chances of rolling 3 more? Yeah. To me, that's a little more interesting because how many times are you thinking, okay, are the next 4 rolls going to be hard sixes? Right. But, you know, if you rolled that first one, what are the chances of rolling 3 more?
Yeah, 2's not interesting because it's just 1 in 36.
Right.
Once you rolled the first one,
the chance of rolling the second one is
1 in 36.
Right.
But the chance of rolling of 3 more is what?
It's 1 in almost 47,000.
Yeah.
So I think that's still something too. But
that's amazing. I mean, all week long, all I can think about is it's almost, it's over 1.5 million to 1 chances of you doing that, and it happened to us.
Yeah, right. Well, you play as much craps as we do, and eventually, these things are going to come up. So.
I feel slighted, though. I got 2,500. I should have got 1.6 million.
Yeah, you didn't win the lotto, did you?
I did not win the lotto.
I didn't either.
So I'm still working on that.
Yeah, all right.
Well, I blame my wife for that.
Oh, why?
She buys the tickets, and I tell her, buy winning tickets.
Yeah.
But, she's doing her best.
All right. Well, good for her. Hey, just one more quick story here. So we've been getting reports that some of the Caesars properties on the Strip have been replacing the fire bet with the all small tall bet. And so we've seen that some of them still have the fire bet. Some of these have been replaced.
Well, we know for sure Caesars and Harrah's.
Right. And
Flamingo still had the fire bet.
And Victor, he just reported to us that Bally's still had the fire bet as well, too.
Bally's
so I don't know if they're planning on getting rid of them to all the casinos. We don't really know why at this point, if it's a licensing issue. Certainly for the player, it's better to have, this features bet. I mean, it's still a high house edge, but it's not nearly as bad as the fire bet. And it hits a lot more. I'm sure the crew does not like it because it's a lot more work for them to keep track of the rolls.
And probably more arguments if they miss something.
Yeah, that's right. A 6 did come up.
Yeah, a 6 did come up or a 12 came up. I know you don't know the answer to this, but if anyone out there does know, I'd like to know what the licensing issues are with the fire bet or the all tall, all small. I mean, what does that cost a casino? Do they have to pay one license for the whole casino or per each table?
I imagine it's probably a license. It's a combination of the two. Like, the initial license is X number of dollars. And then for each additional table, it's, a little bit less than that. But that is a good question. Yeah,
I'd love to know that because why couldn't a casino like Caesars that has like, say, 6, 7 craps tables have, 3 of them have fire bets, 3 of them have all tall, all small.
Oh, that's a good question.
Different things like that. So you could actually pick what you like to play, right?
That is that would be nice to have the choice in a single casino.
I could see not having both on a table, although I'd love that.
Yeah, that's a little much. But
it'd be too much to take care of, and the layout would be too crowded.
Yeah. Okay, we got an email from listener Kevin. Let me just read to you what he said. I would love to hear how you guys deal with cash. You mentioned ATMs, but there are limits for some banks. 600 is max for my bank, and most people get hit with a huge charge. I also hate carrying big cash. I usually go to the bank teller when I'm in Vegas, but Saturday and Sunday hours are very limited. Do you trust casino credit? I'm going to, toss this over to you, Mike, but for whatever reason, neither one of us has ever used casino credit. I don't know if we're, worried that we take advantage of it when we shouldn't or what, but
here's my thing about casino credit. Two points. Number one, when we're in Vegas, we move around a lot.
A lot.
And if you are, let's say you've got all your money at Caesars, right? It kind of forces you to play at Caesars a lot.
Yeah.
Unless you take the money out and move around with it.
Yeah.
So that's why we don't do it in Vegas. Now here it would make sense for us to keep some money at Harrah's Rincon.
Yeah.
The problem is I hate tying up a big chunk of money for a long period of time like that.
Yeah, right.
You know, if I knew I was going to be there a weekend, it'd be different. But if we're going to go every week, I'd hate to put 10,000.
Well, no, you don't have to give them the money. It's just credit, right? It's just tied to your bank account, like your checking account, right? And then you ask for a marker at the table. It's not like the money is.
Well, sometimes you can deposit money.
Well, you can, but what I'm saying is you don't have to.
Right.
So that's not a good excuse.
Well, the reason I wouldn't do the bank thing is it'd be too easy to get.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm thinking too, right?
Because you don't even have to leave the table. You just say, give me 2,000 more.
Yeah.
At least if the other way, you have to go and you have to think about it walking up to the cage and like, should I take more money out? Oh, this is stupid. Let's go home.
Yeah. I don't know that we really have a good answer for Kevin because we don't, walk around with tons of money. What you do usually is you just get, you go up to the cage and get credit. And it's nice for you because as a 7 stars, they refund the service charge to you, at least in free play.
Right. So I'm really not paying much for that.
Right. So, I mean, that's kind of the way you deal with it.
It's kind of like, for me, it's kind of like accessing my bank account.
Right.
I just debit some money out of my bank account.
And it kind of goes without saying, but when you're in Vegas, don't always have your entire wad with you at all times, right? Keep a lot of it in the safe.
Well, that's what we usually do.
Yeah,
when
right.
We put our money in the safe and we take out a little bit and go play what we're going to play for that session.
That's good for 2 reasons. Number one, it keeps the money safe. And number 2, it prevents you from going crazy, in a single session and just digging into your wallet.
And I think most people, I know myself, not so much you, but more me, when you've got more money in your pocket, you tend to want to bet more.
Yeah. So I don't know that we answered Kevin's question very well, but I mean, that's how we
I guess the bottom line is we don't distrust casino credit.
No.
But we don't use it.
Right. Hey, thanks to everyone who's been clicking through our Amazon link. Remember, when you're going to buy something through Amazon, go to our page first, youcanbetonthat.com, and click through our Amazon link at the top of the page. That way, when you make a purchase, we get a little kickback that helps cover the costs of hosting the show, and it doesn't cost you a thing. You'll pay the same price just like normal. All right, let's jump to our voicemail hotline. Remember, call our hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 9512-WAGERS.
9512-WAGERS.
And maybe we'll play your clip on the show. First up is Carter.
What's happening, gentlemen? This is Carter calling again from Portland, Oregon. Just wanted to give you guys a little trip report for a couple trips I made recently. Last month, I went to Las Vegas in November and stayed at the Aria Sky Suites. It was a little pricey, but in my opinion, it was absolutely worth it. It's fantastic. We got, as part of the included price, we were picked up at the airport in a limousine with a very friendly driver, and we were taken and had a private entrance and check-in, and the room was fantastic and large, spacious, with pretty good view, and had a pretty good time, played craps downtown. At Aria, I didn't play that much because the table limits were never got lower than $15. So I only played there a couple nights. On the weekend, when the action was good, it was I actually had a really good time. Didn't win, but didn't lose too much either. So and got a good few hours of solid entertainment and dice thrown in there. But I played at downtown at the D and Four Queens and Golden Nugget for, about an hour each, and didn't have much luck there. And the best run I had was actually when I walked over from Aria to Monte Carlo and bought in and played for a couple hours, and a couple guys went on some really good rolls, and I was making some aggressive bets because I was having a good time, and I really cleaned up there and made the whole trip a lot more fun. It's always fun when you have a really winning session. All in all, the trip was fantastic. Food was great. Ate at Sage at Aria, which was top-notch, great ambiance. Food was fantastic. Had the absinthe service for dessert, which was unlike anything I've had anywhere else, which was very nice, romantic. And I also ate at Nobu at Caesar's Palace, which was unbelievable always. If I've never eaten there, I mean, it's might be one of the best dining experiences I've ever had. The restaurant is so cool in its design, and the staff is very good. The service is top.
No, Carter kind of got cut off there. We had our 3-minute limit on that, but we're going to hear from him again because he has a trip report on one of his local casinos coming up.
Okay, great. Yeah, I'd like to really try that Nobu.
Yes, yeah.
Once. We asked once about that, and we couldn't get it comped.
Oh, really? Oh.
Yeah, it was separate from Lynn and I asked, and it was like, no, we don't you can't use your comps there because it's separate from Caesar's properties.
Okay, yeah,
so
right.
Like they rent the space out or something.
Right.
So, but yeah, we should try that sometime. I've heard really good things about it.
Good.
And we don't play at Aria much.
No, we haven't. I think, Mike, once. Remember,
yeah.
That's right. Yeah, for whatever reason, we just don't get over there very often.
Yeah. Well, we'll have to try it again.
Yeah,
we were
definitely.
turned off by the buffet.
That's right. The buffet was so bad.
Right.
But we enjoyed playing craps here.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So on the last episode, listener Kevin talked about a trip that he took down to Chile. So he called back.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. This is Kevin from San Antonio. A quick follow-up on the international trip. I had my Spanish is not that great, and I'd asked some people about craps in the casinos down there. There are a number of casinos. And some guy had told me in Spanish that there was craps at this Monticello I'd gone to. And it turned out there wasn't. At least I didn't see any. But I do wonder what he thought I was talking about, because apparently there was some sort of miscommunication there. But anyway, one quick Vegas story too. So after all this travel this year, had unfortunately had to do a bunch. I was just short of getting the highest you could on the airline, well, almost the highest. And I said that to my wife. I said, just one more trip will get me this next status. And she said, well, you should take one more trip. And I said, well, I could go to Vegas.
Nice.
She said, okay.
Yes.
And so I decided, great, I got a kitchen pass, and I thought, okay, I'll go to Vegas. Now, I had a couple choices, looking at time I could go and also how much, the cost and everything else. So one choice was to fly in late on Friday night and leave early on Saturday morning, basically giving me less than, actual 12, 18 hours in Vegas, and I would have to stay up all night. And I probably wouldn't even bother getting a hotel room. I decided I'm too old for that. So the second option was
like
to
80.
fly in on Friday, come back early Sunday morning. Still a short trip, only about 36 hours or something in Vegas. I decided, hey, I'm a mature adult. I'll do that instead. I'll have an offer from the D, and I'll go and stay there in the free rooms and whatever. Now, the only downside of that was I stayed 36 hours and only slept about 6 hours. So probably was worse at the end of the day. A couple of quick notes on that trip. I had a great time, loved the 10 times odds down there. But it was interesting. I was over at the Golden Gate, and they actually, if anybody wants to go to a higher limit room and play, it's pretty intimidating, you think, and everything else. But they actually have $15 tables over at the Golden Gate in their high limit room. And you can go in there and play some pretty good, 3-2 blackjack with some pretty good rules for 3-2, or even better rules for 25. But if you ever want to go experience the high limit room for not paying $100 a hand, the Golden Gate will do it. Yeah, it's not quite the Bellagio experience, but it's not bad anyway. Hey, thanks. Love the podcast.
Now, that's great to hear. $15 table.
In the high limit
room. It's Golden Gate. Now, it's a very small high limit room, right? You and I played there in the VIMF tournament.
Yes, it's very small.
It's only like, 3 or 4 tables. But that's great when it's open. Just, go up there and bet like a king, right?
Right, exactly.
$15 a hand.
I told you the other night, I don't know if you remember this, my brother, when he was at the Consumer Electronics Show just recently in Vegas, was, there for like 4 days. He was losing on the Strip. The last day on Sunday, he goes down to downtown, and he had the best time ever at the Golden Gate.
Oh, yeah.
He was at Golden Gate, Four Queens, and the D. Said he won, between those 3 casinos, won all of his money back that he had lost on the Strip, playing craps.
Yep.
And he just was raving about how much fun Golden Gate was playing craps on Sunday night.
So much fun. Yeah.
About that casino in Chile. He probably should have asked for dice, not craps.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Wasn't there a story about, like in England, an American went into a casino and asked, where the craps table was?
Right.
And she pointed to the restrooms, right?
Yeah, they point to the toilet. Because, the guy might have got it confused. He might be thinking, oh, okay, go to the Monticello casino. And for them, that's like, their go-to place when they have to take a dump. Ours happens to be
Rio.
Yeah, ours happens to be Rio, and when we're in Vegas, we just head there if we have to take a real bad dump.
That's right. Maybe that's it.
That's probably with a confusion.
All right. Well, speaking of good advice for low rollers, we got a call from Eric.
Hey, Mike and Mark. Eric calling from New York City. Just calling with a trip report. I was in Vegas before Christmas, stayed downtown at the Downtown Grand. I love going right before Christmas. It's generally a really slow time, and I feel like there's a lot of really good deals. And it's, I don't know, I was there right after the rodeo, and it was just a really relaxing, chill time. But I want to give a report on some of my craps play. Played mostly at the Golden Gate. Didn't have a ton of luck on the whole trip, but the Golden Gate was super fun to play at. $5 tables, good times. I went to the Palms for the first time and got the all tall, which was nice. But yeah, that was fun. I'd never been there before. I was a little disappointed because I wanted to play at the D, and every time I went in, it was a $10 table. It didn't seem like they had any $5 tables even during this slow period, which was kind of disappointing. I like to play there, but I wasn't going to play at a $10 table when, you know, there were $3 and $5 tables all around Fremont Street. Anyway, the main reason I'm calling is because one day I decided to get a little bit adventurous, and I took the bus out to the Joker's Wild Casino in Henderson. I gotta say, it was really fun. If any listeners haven't done it before, I'd recommend it. The bus ride itself was a little bit of an adventure. It took about an hour and passed tons of local casinos, saw lots of interesting people on the bus, and then once we got to the Joker's Wild, it really lets you off at a stop where you're right across the street from the Joker's Wild, you see the casino, and then you look to your right, and there's literally nothing else. You're basically just in the middle of, like, a desert, no man's land. So it's kind of fun to feel like I really head out to the desert to shoot some dice. Anyway, Joker's Wild is cool because they have dollar craps, and the table I was at was pretty empty, and the dealers were fun. They were a good time. And, you know, you really buy it for $100 and you feel like you're a rock star at a dollar craps table. I didn't really have any luck, but I would definitely go back and do it again. It was a lot of fun. They, had a 10-cent roulette table going where, 10-cent chips on the inside with a minimum bet of $1. And that was great. The dealer was super nice. I made a couple bets for the dealer, with the 10-cent chips. And I think, you know, being that this is like a local casino all the way out in Henderson, one of the 10-cent bets hit and the dealer won $350 and she was beyond ecstatic. So it was just really nice to hang out with her. She was super appreciative even for the multiple 10-cent bets, which made it nice, and I was glad she won and was so psyched about winning that $350. But yeah, if you know, a lot of times people stick to the strip in downtown, but if you want to play craps or super cheap roulette and have a little bit of an adventure, I definitely recommend going out to the Joker's Wild. All right. Thanks again. Keep up the good work. Talk to you guys soon.
That is great advice. Yes, if you're willing to, you know, again, if you've got a car, you're willing to drive out there or Uber it or take a bus, right?
Right. I don't know about the bus in Vegas.
Yeah, I know, especially if it took an hour to get there. But
that's Wild West. You got to be from New York to do that,
but
right?
dollar craps. I mean, that's great, right?
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
Wonderful. And I see in your notes here, they've got $2 3-card poker.
Yeah, $2 3-card poker.
Now, that's great because, you know, you make 3 bets, right? Sometimes you play in a $10 table, you got $30 out there.
And that's your dad's game, right? He's always complaining about how much he has to put out there.
He'd love that. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
He'd love that.
$3 blackjack also. And they've got 10 times odds on craps.
Yeah.
So, you know, if you're willing to go, you know, a little bit out of the way to a locals casino.
What do you think? Did you look that up? What's the drive to that casino from, say, Harrah's?
You know, I didn't look to see exactly how it was. But
Henderson's not that far away.
No, it's not. If you figure it's like an hour bus ride, it's, you know, like maybe a half hour by car, if even that.
Oh, even that. Because to get to Henderson, 15, 20 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, it's basically a suburb of Vegas.
If you're willing to do it, you know, if you're, you know, a low limit gambler and you really want to check it out, you know, absolutely.
Right. And there's quite a few casinos actually in Henderson.
Sure. Oh, you can hit a lot of local places over there.
Remember years ago, we went to one with Ron Luce. His like aunt worked there. Do you remember that?
Boy, I must not have been with you. No, I don't remember going with Ron Luce ever.
Oh, okay. I think he was getting married. Well, I know he was getting married then.
Okay.
And they got married.
I didn't go to his wedding, so I wasn't there. No.
Yeah. And his aunt worked in some small casino in Henderson. Yeah. And we went to see her at work, and it was like that. It was exactly like that. Yeah. Now, these local casinos, they probably don't get tipped a lot.
Oh, right.
Local people tend not to tip as much.
Yeah, because they're out there so much.
They're out there all the time, right? Yeah. There's not like, somebody on a vacation, they just throwing a little money around.
Yep.
So, they were probably happy to get any tips.
Oh, yeah. Really. Yeah, definitely. Okay, let's hear from Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike. It's Marty from Northern California. Hey, just got back from Vegas on a New Year's trip and managed to get some more information on the new player rating system that they're using on the dice tables in Caesars properties. Right now, they're only testing it at the Cromwell, and it's a variation. Again, it looks like it's not going to be good for the players, but I spent a lot of time talking to one of the pit boss friends of mine there, and he gave me a little bit of insight. First, a little background. I think you guys probably know, but some of your listeners don't, that when you play craps and then your comps are based on something called the theoretical win for the casino. And on a normal craps game, it's about 1%. So if you bet $100 a hand for an hour, the casino believes, and there's about 100 rolls in an hour, and that's just kind of the average that they use. The house believes they're going to win about $100. So they can comp you up to about 30% of that back. So that means you're getting about $30 per hour comps for a $100 average bet. And this has worked this way at almost every casino around town. Some take your odds into account, but a lot of them don't rate your odds. So if you're betting a $30 6 and 8 and you've got a $10 on the line and full odds, you're really only getting credit for about a $70 average bet. Anyway, what they're doing now at the Cromwell is they're actually tracking the number of rolls per hour. There's a little lammer that they move. It sits right like above the hot bets. They move it with every roll to count the number of rolls per hour.
We saw that.
And the other thing that they're doing is they're actually rating your individual bets, meaning what kind of bets are you making on which numbers. And what that does for you is, so if you're an outside number bettor, they're actually coming up with a higher theoretical for you because the house edge is so much higher on the 4 and the 10. If you're betting just inside numbers, it's actually lowering your theoretical down. So I had about 5 or 6 sessions that I kind of played with my bets and over time and found that it's actually fairly accurate. And the downside is on a busy hot table, you go from somewhere around 100 rolls per hour down to the 60 or 70, which then reduces the theoretical down. So anyway, they're just trying this now at the Cromwell, both of the two front tables at the Cromwell. But given the fact that it's a way for them to more accurately track players, my guess is it's coming soon to all Caesars properties, and we'll all see our comps go down because our theoreticals are going down. So interesting that they're doing it there. Again, they're perfectly willing to talk about it. And if you just have to ask if you walk in, there's a few little LEDs that are on the layout, just kind of above the hotbeds. You can actually see where the little lammer's going. So anyway, that's what I know. I'll know more when I'm out there in a few weeks, and I'll talk to you again. Thanks, guys.
Yeah,
Love the show.
Yeah, we did see that when we were there. We saw that this thing where they counted the rolls. So, going back forever, casinos have been rating people based on the bets that they make. So hopefully, this is still the same. If you're doing outside numbers, you're going to get a better rating.
Yeah, my prop bets, the hard ways and the hoppers and, that kind of stuff, the world bet and stuff that you should get a huge rating, right?
So, but if they're actually, tracking the rolls and it's almost like automatic, it goes into the system. Okay, he played for this long, but it was really crowded and they only, they were only rolling, 50 rolls per hour. It was so crowded.
Right.
Yeah, that could hurt you. Now, at the same time, would it help you if maybe you're by yourself at a table and you're just, you're rolling every 10 seconds, something like that?
Right. Well, and also if a table's very crowded, usually means that it's doing well.
Right.
Right? Because people leave when they're not.
Right.
So if it's more crowded, you're doing well. Maybe you don't care what your rating is so much, right?
Maybe, yeah.
If you're winning, you're winning.
It's still all going to be voodoo, though. We
it
keep
is.
talking
and
about
here's
it.
why. How many times, Mark, have you been at a table where you see the casino representative, whether it's, the pit boss or whoever it is, entering all your information in the computer?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's...
You know how long it would take for them to put in my bets?
Right.
Just me.
Yeah, right.
Just, oh, yeah, he's got the hard ways, he's got this, he's got that. Now, if I play the same way every time, it's fine. But if I change how I play, if sometimes I'm making hard bets, sometimes I'm not, how do you input all that info for one guy, let alone 16 people on a table?
Yeah, it's never going to be as accurate as just playing a machine, where you put your card in and it's exact.
Right.
Well, gosh, Mike, I was telling you about 3 weeks ago, they must have clocked me out at a table because, again, I keep very close track of all the credits that we get. And I got just a few credits for playing as long as we always do when we go out there, hours and hours.
Right. And somehow they clocked you out.
It was ridiculous because I hardly got anything. Now I could go, complain about it, but I don't know if that'll do any good, right? If they didn't enter me in, how are they going to prove, or how am I going to prove that I played? But,
right. And how are they going to go back and say, oh yeah, he was betting this. It just, so it is voodoo.
Yeah. I think it'll continue to be. But yeah, this might help us. It might hurt us.
But I do appreciate that they're at least trying to get you an accurate rating.
I hope so. I hope that's what it really is going to ultimately be. Yeah, no kidding, right? Okay, let's hear a report about Oklahoma Casino WinStar.
Hey guys, this is Kristen Keller. I was just giving you a call. I took a little trip up to WinStar in Oklahoma just to see how bad it was. They claim to have the largest casino in the world. And, well, I guess you could if you just had infinite amount of land that you could just do whatever you want on it. But it wasn't that bad of a place. I checked out the craps. The craps, it was card-based. They would draw 3 cards, and then the middle card, they would put it over a little scanner-looking thing, and then that would be the outcome. Then they had a little television screen that would pop up with dice, and it'd be either like a hard 4 or, 7 out or whatever. Then they would just put them back. But like you reported, it's definitely you gotta pay an ante. On the come out, you put your bet, and then you gotta throw $1. And then let's say you put a bet on the pass line and you crap, it rolls like a 3. Then you lost your bet, and then you gotta put another bet on the pass line and give them another $1. But if a point's established, then until that point's either rolled or you lose, you don't have to pay the $1 again. But still, I played for just a little bit, probably lost about $15 just in antes. But I ended up being up actually about $45, but it is what it is. And then pretty much that place is just slot machines everywhere. But it wasn't a bad place if you can get past the ante, but still that ante stuff, it's an Oklahoma rule and I hate it. But anyways, love the podcast. Talk to you guys soon. Bye.
Okay, good. So we were wondering, when it came to paying that ante.
Right. Did you have to pay it every come out?
So it's basically every decision. Every come out decision. Or every pass line decision, I should say. So not every come out, but every pass line decision.
If you're at a $5 table and you got $5 on the line, he rolls 7. You're like, oh, 7. You get $5, you give him another $1.
Yeah.
You're really only making $4 every time.
It's, and
on a craps, you're losing.
Yeah,
you're losing
that's
your 5
right. You use
plus another $1.
And then you have to put out another $1. We've talked about Oklahoma casinos before. We complain about the rules here in California, how stupid they are. Right. But Oklahoma really takes the cake, with...
well, the thing about it is, it's kind of like he alluded to this point. If that's the only place you can play, right? Let's say you live near there and it's just way too far to go anywhere else. Yeah. You kind of just grin and bear it, right?
Yeah.
And they can do whatever they want to you. Now, if you're on the border and you could drive, 15 more minutes and get to someplace better to play, they wouldn't be doing that.
Yeah. It's the state law. I mean, that's why they do it. Just play video poker if you're going to go to a casino like that. I mean, I've heard good things about WinStar. It sounds like it's a nice place, but oh my gosh, that would just drive me crazy.
We'd have
every
a hard
decision.
time. We'd have a hard time there.
Yeah. Okay, here's a trip report from MGM Detroit.
Hi guys, this is Tom from North Carolina. Actually found your podcast about 8 months ago through 500, and I've spent the last few months just catching up through all the old episodes and really love the show. Especially like how it's over time you're kind of sharing a lot of crap stories, which is awesome. Kind of felt like I found a home. So really appreciate what you guys do. Hey, I thought I'd share just a quick trip report. I'm at the North American International Auto Show, and I had a chance to stop by the MGM Detroit and throw some dice. Nice casino, definitely kind of a locals vibe, part of the M Life program. So if you're on the M Life gravy train, then it's a good spot to go. So I was there this evening. They had 5 tables open. I think there was 3 $10 tables, a 15 and a 25. And they're all pretty busy for the most part. A lot of folks in town for the auto show. That's maybe part of it. A lot of prop bettors. In fact, as of the table, I was my typical bet is pass line and a couple come bets, full odds. I was the only one at the table betting that way. Most everybody else was either in the field or betting hard ways or yos and so forth. So it's kind of an interesting crowd. Hey, something they have there I've never seen before is a prop bet called the Golden Dice Challenge. As far as I know, it only exists at the MGM Detroit. So as I understand it, the way it basically pays, number of pass line wins determines on what you make. I looked it up and they do have the odds posted in Wizard of Odds. Of course, I had a roll with I think 9 passes, which didn't have anything on it though, so I didn't get any benefit from it. But basically 7, 11, and on the come out or any point numbers will count towards the win. 2, 3s, and 12s have no effect. And so if you get 20 or more passes, pays 5,000 to 1. So kind of an interesting side bet, something I had never seen before. Anyway, nice casino, a little smoky, but definitely had a good time. Ended up walking away with about $265, which was nice. So it made for a nice evening. Anyway, keep up the great work. Look forward to future shows. Bye now.
Good. Thanks, Tom. Yeah. So I had never heard of this bet either. And it looks like it's only at the MGM Detroit Golden Dice Challenge. And so the great thing is it's just for an individual shooter, how many pass wins will he roll? Right. And you ignore the 2, 3, 12 on the come out. That doesn't stop it. Right. They don't, so
if a guy rolls a couple 7s and then maybe an 11, you've got 3 already.
You've got 3 already. Right.
He
exactly.
makes his point. You've got 4. You're still not a winner.
Yeah. Right. But
you got to get 5 to win.
So it's
money.
5 or more and you get money. But still, that's kind of nice, right? You're certainly going to win something on this bet, a lot more than like a fire bet.
Oh,
right?
Sure. What would be nice is a guy rolls a couple 7s, makes a point of 6, makes it. Yeah. Right. So he's got 3, then rolls a couple more 7s. You know how that works sometimes?
Right. Yeah.
And then you've already got 5. And if he makes a second point, you're at 6. You could get to 7 pretty quick.
Yeah. Okay. So that's the upside, which is pretty nice. Here's the downside.
Right.
Okay. This bet has about a 27% house edge. All right. Which is huge. That's worse than the fire bet.
Yeah. Right.
That isn't. Plus, it gets worse. The maximum that you can win on this bet is $5,000.
Even though 20 or more pays 5,000 to 1.
That's right.
So if you bet $2, you're still only going to get 5,000.
Right. So if you bet more than $1, that house edge goes up, right?
Very quickly.
It can go pretty quickly. So yeah, just, betting $2, suddenly the house edge goes up to, 29%. So that's pretty bad. It makes it a pretty bad bet. But, if you want to take a chance.
It's one of those fun things.
It seems to me to be more fun than the fire bet, but
they should have
beware.
this in Oklahoma. They get another $1 from you every time, right?
That's right. All right, let's hear again from Marty.
Hey, Mark and Dr. Mike, it's Marty from Northern California. Hey, just listen to the last show, and you guys had some questions about people who have played craps outside of the U.S. I actually have, in quite a few cases. In the Bahamas, down at Cable Beach Casino, again, very much like playing in America, except for they have the ability to just shut down a table. So if a roll is hot, they'll come up and just say, hey, we're closing this table down. You guys need to move to another table. Happened to me twice there within about a 3-day period.
In the middle of a roll?
Yeah, in the middle of a roll. I mean, that's it shows you how stupid that.
Oh my God. I can see, like at the end of a roll.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we got to close. In the middle of a roll?
I mean, and it's so stupid for them to do that too, because when you think about it, if people had come bets out there, they'd have to return those come bets.
Right. Sure.
Right. Where they have an edge on, right? Those bets, but they're just giving them back to people. It's just stupid superstition.
You have to be, how can a casino be superstitious?
I know.
And make money. It doesn't make sense. You got to just play the odds.
I know.
Probably the most interesting place to play is actually in Chile, a little seaside resort called Vina del Mar. Place called the Enjoy Casino. One of the strangest places I've ever played in my life. First of all, different from every other craps table in the world is the chips there are square, like the tiles you see in the old James Bond movies, and in pesos. And so the rail around the side of the table is square, and you can actually stack your chips front to back. So that was one strange thing. The other strange thing was single odds, and you cannot buy the 4 and 10. It's a straight 9 to 5 bet on the 5 and 10. And the most bizarre thing was they have this hard ass rule about you must hit the rubber on the far end of the table. So you throw the dice down to the other end of the table. If they don't hit the other end, they call no roll. If they happen to hit the wood up where the rail is, they call no roll. and it was really difficult to kind of play there. The other rule is when they give you the dice, you're not allowed to throw the dice right away until they tell you that it's okay to throw the dice. And if you happen to pick up the dice and throw the dice before they've told you it's okay, they call that no roll. So just bizarre. And it really, again, it was uncomfortable. Nobody there really spoke English. But again, we're playing dice, and we took them for a bunch of money. So Vina Del Mar, Enjoy Casino down in Chile. Anyway, that's my story. Thanks, guys. Love the show. Have a good one.
I love hearing about that. That's great. I would love to go there.
It would be fun to try.
It drive me crazy.
Yeah, see, and that's
love to go there.
If there's such the thing that bothers me about this is they could say, oh, you didn't hit the rubber when you make your point, but then if you roll a 7 and maybe it didn't hit the rubber, they go ahead and call it. Right?
Oh, that's okay that time. It got enough of the rubber.
Yeah, it got enough. And plus, all right, obviously they don't want people just sliding dice across, but if it's that bad, if they're saying no roll, that hurts them in the long run too, because they're not getting as many rolls in, right? They want a fast game if they're going to make money at the casino.
Right, wasting time. Well, I love that you have to wait for them to tell you to roll.
I know.
Now, my brother ran into that in Asia.
Okay.
In Singapore, it was the same way. They would give you the dice, but you couldn't actually roll them until they told you it was okay to roll.
Okay.
And you could only pick them up and roll them. You couldn't pick them up and shake them. You couldn't touch them or set them or anything. You just had to pick them up and roll them.
Okay.
So they had real strict rules about that. Now, why?
Yeah,
what would be the reasoning for
just
that?
wait and don't push it to the person till everybody's ready. The crew is ready, right?
And
whatever.
Then once they got there, what do you care if the guy does whatever he wants to do to them? I mean, unless you think they're fake dice.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the weirdest thing. I don't know if it's a cultural thing.
Well,
could be.
Who knows?
I mean, or if it's just paranoia on casinos.
Yeah, who knows?
I wonder why they don't let you buy the 4 and 10.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's to their advantage not to offer it.
Right. I guess if they just have a strict rule.
Yeah.
Now it sounded like that was kind of a resort place.
Oh, yeah, I'm right.
And so maybe they're the only game in town.
Sure.
And it's like, we can do whatever we want.
Sure. Okay, a follow-up call from Carter.
Hey, gentlemen, this is Carter from Portland calling again. Wanted to finish up with one more trip report I took last weekend. Here in Oregon, they have a few Indian reservation, Native American reservation casinos, and the closest one to Portland is about 90 miles away. It's called Spirit Mountain Casino. And I drove out there with my friend for his birthday to play craps, and we showed up. It was Friday night at 10. The place was packed. They had 2 craps tables, both full. $5 minimum was the highest it seemed to ever get. It was a pretty good time, but there was a couple interesting things that I didn't care for so much. There was no fire bet, which I didn't like because I think is a fun bet. And on the hard ways, they'd only let you go up to 50, which you could only press your hard ways up to 50, which I also thought took a little fun out of it. Maybe probably saved me some money, but also thought took a little of the fun out of it. But all in all, it was a really good time. A lot of people, the great dealers who were friendly and knowledgeable. And I was just wondering, I'm kind of an amateur player. I've only played for a few times. And, one thing I'm not super familiar is with all the bets, the prop bets in the middle of the table. I always hear guys yelling about that horn high, horn low, all small, all tall, midnight, yo, high, yo, low. And I just have no idea what they're talking about. I know the place bets, come bets, spy bets, hard ways, everything I got picked field, I know I'm figured out pretty good. But these middle prop bets, I don't get what's going on there. C&E and hop 2 ways, I have no idea what any of that means. Just wondering if you guys could elaborate on some of that for me. Thank you. Love your show. Craps is a great game.
Okay, yeah, let's talk about prop bets. So,
well, my advice to him, first of all, would just pretend like you're in like a Peanuts movie and it's the adults talking. Just that blah, 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 that, that noise they make.
Yeah,
it's not really words. That's the best way to approach the prop bets and just ignore them.
That's true. I mean, that is good advice. And I ignore the prop bets. But here, let's kind of talk about some of the terminology, because we've talked about the prop bets, but we haven't really talked about, some of the slang that's used at the table, right?
And that's what it is. It's a lot of slang.
Right. So all the prop bets that are in the middle of the table, except for the hard ways, are 1 roll wagers. So you will win or lose on the next roll. not the hard ways, but everything else that's in the middle there. Right.
And they're usually a different color to help you distinguish. The hard ways will be, say, red, and the other bets will be green.
Yeah, usually it's something, it's a little bit different. Right. So let's talk about a few of them. First, there's any 7. Okay. And again, that's just a bet that the next roll is going to be a 7. Pays 4 to 1. It's the worst bet on the craps table. Should pay 5 to 1 for it to be true, right? But it pays 4 to 1.
Also called Big Red.
Right. A lot of people will not say the word 7 at the table. So you would maybe throw in your money and say, give me $5 Big Red.
And it's usually a big red 7 in a circle.
Yes, exactly. Right. So that's any 7. Some of the other bets that are in the middle, there is a separate rectangle for all of these bets, a 2, a 3, 11, and 12. Those are all one roll bets. If you bet on the 2 or the 12, it pays 30 to 1. Most casinos, it pays 30 to 1. And again, it's a one roll bet. You just throw it in, boom.
2 could be called snake eyes. You'll hear that.
12,
aces.
Can be right. 2 can be called aces. Yep.
12 will be called midnight a lot. You'll hear that.
Sure. Midnight, boxcars.
Boxcars. Those are the probably the most common phrases for 2 and 12.
Right. And if somebody were to throw in $2, say, give me a $2 high-low. That means $2 on the 2 and $2 on the 12.
That'd be a $4 bet, but your thinking is correct. It'd be $1 on the 2, $1 on the 12.
Did I say 2 on each? Oh man, I'm glad you caught me. Yeah, but the point is, when you say high-low, you're saying bet on the 2 and the 12, right? The highest that you can roll and the lowest you can roll. Thanks for catching me on that, right? If you want to bet all 4 of those numbers, 2, 3, 11, 12.
Well, let's before you do that, let's go over 3 and 11.
Okay,
so you can make single bets on 3, 11, just like 2 and 12.
Right.
The 3, you can say, give me a $1 3.
Right.
Most people say ace deuce.
Yeah, $1 ace deuce. Right.
Ace
exactly.
Deuce.
Yep.
Is that called anything else?
I can't think of anything else. No, mostly, Trey. Maybe something like that.
Hear that. But
ace
most
deuce
is
like the common one.
The 11, you'll hear, give me a $1 11.
Right.
You'll hear yo, which is 11.
Right. Yo is the slang for 11, and the reason supposedly is because 11 kind of sounds like 7. If you just call it yo, that's clear.
That's clear.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
Any other 11s that we?
I can't think of anything else you call 11. It's pretty much yo.
Pretty much yo is all you hear.
That's right.
So now you can make a bet on all 4 of those numbers.
Right. If you want to bet on all 4 of those, basically 4 separate wagers, but if you want to do it all at once, that's called a horn. Okay. And if you just said, here, give me a $4 horn, that's $1 on each of those numbers, the 2, 3, 11, and 12.
Right. Okay. But because chips come in 5s,
typically,
you'll commonly hear somebody say, give me a horn high yo. Right. And so what that would mean is they'd put $1 on the 2, $1 on the 12, $1 on the 3, and then the 2 extra dollars would go on yo. So whatever you're high on would get the extra $1.
Right. So horn high yo means put the extra $1 on 11.
Right.
You could say horn high aces, which means the extra $1 would go on the 2. Yeah. Horn high ace deuce. Horn high 12.
Horn high midnight.
Horn high boxcars. Right.
You'll hear all those slangs, and that'll tell you where that extra $1 is going to go.
Right.
And they'll usually place that bet up in a corner.
Right, kind of. There's a horn area, but they'll move it towards
a box for the horn, but they'll kind of straddle the line between the horn box and say the 2 box.
And there are some layouts that actually have horn high 11. There's actually a separate spot,
which is great when they have that. I kind of like that because it makes things a lot less confusing for people.
Yeah. There's another wager that's called the World, or if you're at Binion's, the Whirl bet. That's just a horn bet plus an any 7 bet. So if you throw out give me a $5 World, that's $1 each on the 2, 3, 11, 12, and any 7.
Yeah, so that is a minimum $5 bet.
Right. Okay, the other bet that's out there in the middle is the any craps. That pays 7 to 1. And you will win if the next roll of the dice is craps. And remember, craps is 2, 3, or 12. So if any one of those comes up on the next roll, no matter which one it is, it pays 7 to 1. Okay. Right. You'll hear people say, "Oh, give me a $1 any." Maybe they won't even say any craps, just $1 any. That doesn't mean an any 7. That means an any craps.
Now you could bet an any craps for $1.
Yes.
What you cannot bet is a 3-way craps for $1. So if you want to say, I want a 3-way crap, you need to give them a minimum of $3 because what you're doing is you're betting on 2, 3, and 12
individually. Right.
So you'd have to have $1 on each one, or you'd have, a $6 3-way crap. So you'd have $2 on each one, something of that nature. But if you, for whatever reason, just wanted to bet $1, you could have $1 any craps.
Right. And with this any craps, sometimes people will just say, oh, give me $1 crap check. Yep, crap check also means any craps.
As if they're hedging their pass line bet with this crap.
That's right. Exactly right. Now, again, we said that there's any craps out there, and there's also 11. Those are two very popular wagers. And so most layouts have separate locations for those bets in a combo. That's called C&E.
Craps 11.
Craps and 11.
And usually they'll be on each side of the table, there'll be 8 little C's and 8 little E's kind of connected to each other, depending on where you are. So if you're next to the dealer, you're in that first spot, and you'll throw in a $5 any or C&E, and they'll put that 5 between the C and the E.
Right. It'd be like you have $2.50 on each one, and they'll pay it that way.
And they'll pay it that way, right? Or you could give them $2, whatever you want. They'll book that bet.
Yep.
But if you throw it out there and you say you want an 11, they might put your $5 just on the little E.
Just right. Mm-hmm.
Or if you say you want any craps, they might just put in a little C. But if you want a C and E, they kind of straddle it between the two.
Right. So if you make like a $2 C and E bet, that means you have $1 on the 11 and $1 on any crap. So if 11 comes up on the next roll, you get 15 to 1,
and you lose your $1 on the craps.
Right. And if craps comes up, you get 7 to 1, and you lose the $1 on the 11.
Right.
Yeah. Exactly. Okay. Now a two-way is not specific to just the prop bets. Anytime you hear somebody at the craps table say a two-way, that usually means a bet for yourself and a bet for the dealers.
Right.
Okay. And it might go like this. Give me a $6 two-way hard 8.
So they would probably, and if you threw $6 out there, a $5 chip and a $1 chip, they would take that to mean you're betting $5 for yourself and $1 for them.
Correct. Right.
It does not necessarily mean it's 50-50.
Right. Now,
if there's some discrepancy, they'll ask you. A good dealer will say, okay, how much is that?
Right. But yeah, you could, if you wanted, you could throw $6 out there and say, give me a two-way hard 8, 3 for each of us.
Yeah.
You could do that.
Yeah. You could bet more for them if you wanted.
Typically you're betting more for yourself. But all a two-way means is, I'm betting for myself and I'm betting for you, the dealers. Yeah.
You'll hear occasionally someone say, give me a 3-way hard 8. And typically they mean one for them, one for the dealer, and one for the shooter.
Yes.
Because they're making a bet for the shooter. You'll see that in big rolls where some guy's really rolling well, and maybe he's not betting a lot for himself, but somebody else wants to help him out, so they make a bet for him.
Yes.
You'll hear that. You'll hear a 3-way.
Yes.
So those are probably the most common slang terms you'll hear as far as prop bets go. And occasionally you will hear something weird. I mean, we've heard stuff that we've never heard before, and we have to check up on it.
Oh, you know what? Really that reminds me. We forgot to do this, and we talked about it on this. So the super aces, right?
The super aces. Yeah, we still haven't checked.
Okay,
on that.
Next time I'll try to remind you. We'll see what happens. But give me a $10 super aces. We'll see if the dealers have any idea.
That's going nowhere. I can tell you that right
I agree
now.
with you, but we're going to try it. We're going to try it. All right, that's going to do it for this episode. Hey, we want to thank a few people for PayPal donations. First of all, Will, who was a caller on our last episode. Will, thanks for the donation. Also, James in Salt Lake City sent $14, the popular $14 contribution. He said for some laundry detergent.
Yeah.
To go with the new washer. Nice.
$14. That should be popcorn for the TV. Watching a movie.
Yeah, maybe I won't tell my wife about it. Yeah, I got $14 for popcorn.
We can get laundry detergent anywhere.
And also, thanks for the PayPal donation from Mike. Mike was actually visiting San Diego this week. He emailed us asking about good places to play poker. He was staying downtown, and I told him, "Gosh, there's really nothing close to downtown."
Not really.
And he said he didn't have a car, so I was thinking, well, he could like Uber it down to 7 Mile, that poker room. Right. Of course, they were recently raided by the FBI, so call first.
What about shuttle buses out to one of the?
Well, see, that's what I said. I said, you could go out to Sequan because they have a downtown shuttle. That was the other suggestion that I gave.
They all have shuttle buses from Old Town.
Well, see, that's the thing, though. You'd have to get to Old Town. I didn't want to make it too complicated. Those were the two that I suggested to him. It turns out he actually does have he wrote back and said, "Oh, turns out I have a friend here who does have a car, and they were going to head out to Verona.
Oh, great.
So I thought, okay, good. I didn't mention Verona in my first email to him because it's like, how do you get out there? They don't have a shuttle bus. Right. And same with like Ocean's 11. That's a huge poker room up at, about 30 miles north of San Diego. But again, how do you get there, without a car? So.
Well, I hope he made it to Verona. Okay, that road's not the greatest.
I hope so. Yeah. So Mike, hopefully you had some good luck while you were here. Hey, be sure to check out our TV listings showing all the gambling related shows coming up within the next 2 weeks. We update those listings every Wednesday using a customized program to search through all the raw American TV data. Just go to our webpage, youcanbetonthat.com, and click on the link at the top that says TV listings. We would love to hear from you. Call our voicemail hotline at 951-292-4377. That's 951-2-WAGERS, or you can email us at youcanbetonThat@gmail.com. Also, follow us on Twitter at YouCanBetOnThat. We always tweet when we're heading to a casino, and we'd love to meet up with you. Like us on Facebook at facebook.com/YouCanBetOnThat. And finally, head on over to iTunes and write a review on us. When you do, it helps us get new listeners. Mike, I know you have more to say.
Oh, I got a lot to say.
Okay.
First of all, I have to acquiesce to Mark as being the better craps roller, better crap shooter.
Absolutely.
I mean, you rolled the fire bet, you rolled the 4 hard sixes. Mm-hmm. All week long, all I can think of is that's one chance in 1.67 million.
You've been obsessed with that.
I've been obsessed. I can't sleep. And it's partly I'm nervous because it happened. Partly I can't wait to go again, so it'll happen again.
That's right. Hopefully you'll pass the dice this week.
Yeah, I think I will be passing the dice. But, I've got to say your rolls have been much better.
Thank you, sir.
And why is it always hard sixes? We seem to hit those a lot.
It does seem to come up more than the others.
Why would it not be hard eights?
When we were younger, it was hard eights. Yeah. And now it's hard sixes. What's different about these days?
Well, I'm older. It's hard to get to the 8.
Yeah.
But I'll tell you what. Here's another thing.
All right.
Okay. My advice to everybody out there, go out and get yourself a nice new shirt. I was wearing a new shirt.
Yeah, you did.
I was wearing a brand new shirt.
It was this big, colorful Star Wars shirt. Yeah, it did look good. You got compliments on it when we were there.
Yeah, it was a nice shirt. And I'm going to go home tonight and make sure my wife goes and buys me a new shirt tomorrow. So I'll have one for Friday night. And the last thing I wanted to leave us with, besides the new shirt, do you know when we were there Friday night, how good the vibe was on that table?
Yes.
Right? There was not really any negativity. And there was a guy playing with us who is a very negative person.
Absolutely.
And usually he's very negative.
Absolutely.
But even he was quiet and not all that negative. Yep. And the dealers that we had were great.
Yes.
They were some of our favorite ones.
Absolutely.
And they're very positive people. Mm-hmm. And it just seemed like everything came together. And I know it shouldn't really matter, but it certainly does. When you're feeling good and the dealers are positive and everything goes good. So look for that, people.
Definitely.
You just have to look for that. And when it's not good, just walk away.
Yeah, that's true. Right? I mean, it helped that we were having a winning session basically the whole night. But absolutely, if you have the option to walk away and go to a different table or a different casino, if you're getting any kind of negative vibe, and we don't mean that you're going to lose because it's a negative vibe.
Right.
It's just, it's going to hurt your experience.
Right.
And,
and we had such a good time.
Yes.
And there's one dealer out there, Julie. She's, for whatever reason, we always have good luck with her.
Yeah, and she's a great dealer.
She's a great dealer. Her dealing skills are excellent.
Yes.
I mean, excellent. I don't know that we've had anyone really better than her.
Yep.
So, so everything goes your way. It turns out nice. And even if we had not won so much, and we ended up both winning pretty big because the night went well.
Yes.
It even ended on a good note. I think the last shooter, we said, okay, we're going to go. And he had some great roll too.
And then we left. Yeah.
Oh, and I bought a TV afterwards.
Oh, you bought a TV.
I bought a TV afterwards. Yeah. The very next day, I took my wife and the girls and we bought a new TV for our bedroom.
All right. But you took the whole family. You didn't go behind your wife's back or anything.
No, I need her to hook it up. I know nothing about that. But we needed a smart TV for the bedroom.
Okay.
And actually, our spare room, we had a small TV in there, and it died a while back. So we took our TV in our bedroom, put it in there, and we got ourselves a nice big TV for the bedroom.
All right. All right. Thanks for listening.
Good night.